Hello, my name is Gazanfer and welcome to our new section of Introduction to Tables. In this lesson, I'm going to introduce you to tables and what we're going to cover in this section. The topics that we're going to cover in this section include creating tables, how to format tables, how to make multiple measures, methods of aggregation. There's also this amazing feature called cross-filtering, which we'll learn how to do in tables. Another thing that we're going to do is percentage calculations. I hope you've understood the contents of our section, and I hope to see you in the next lesson as well. Hello, my name is Gazanfer, and in this lesson, we're going to learn how to create tables in Microsoft Power BI. Let's go to our Microsoft Power BI dashboard. Over here, we see our fields and we see our visualizations. Now, as you can see, we have a lot of different type of visualizations that we will learn in our future lessons. In today's visualizations, we will learn about our tables. When we click on a table, as you can see, a demograph of a table pops up. However, we're going to delete that for now, and we're gonna view other options of making tables. Let's go to our field areas. As you can see, every field has an icon next to it. Almost every field has. The fields that don't have an icon next to them are actually text fields. Or so when you take them out, for example, channel, what happens is that a table is formed. Now I will show you how to increase the size or decrease the size of a table in the future lessons. But right now I want you to see how a table is formed. As you can see, you can add more things in the table, like other quantities, whether they are of sigma or maybe even of date. As you can see, a table has been formed. Let's delete this for now. You can see there are other options like in fields. So for example, when I take out manufacturer, even though when we go into our view over here, we see a lot of data. Over here, we see only the manufacturers that are genuinely in their place. So for example, right now, if I go to our data, we can see that the manufacturers over here have so many lines in their table. But when we go to our dashboard, we see otherwise. And the reason for this is because the manufacturers only as manufacturers came out. So instead of using so many lines, they took out the unique categories and put them as one. So if, for example, let's go to our manufacturers and maybe we want to see the cost of sales by manufacturers. So we input it into the table, and as you can see, the total sales by every manufacturer comes, and the cost of sales by each manufacturer comes as well. So making tables is very easy, and as you can see over here, there are ways of doing it. If you notice our fields area, you can see their values over here. So for example, if I cut this out, another way of making tables is by maybe putting it over here. And maybe I want to see the cost of sales by city or the profit by cost of sales of city as well. So as you can see, it has made a table. Now this is very simple. Then there are also the format options that I will tell you in the next lesson or so. So we'll learn that as well. So as you can see, making tables is very easy, and there are many options as well. I hope you understood how to make tables in this lesson, and I hope to see you in the next lesson as well. Hello, my name is Gazanfer, and in this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to format and sort tables in Microsoft Power BI. Let's go to our Microsoft Power BI desktop, and here you can see last time we were here, we made a table. Let's revise that. What we did was we took out, for example, a field, and as a default, the field value, since it was a text value, came out as a table. To add values, for example, to manufacturers such as cost of sales, we could add it like this and add it over here as well. So as you can see, making tables was a very easy thing to do. Now what we're going to do in this lesson is we're going to learn how to sort and format our tables. Over here, you can see that you can manually decrease the table size or increase it. Compressing the text becomes very easy this way, thus you can add these options of going up and down or sideways. This is very helpful, especially when you're working with tablets or mobile phones where you need to compress the area where your dashboard is working at. Let's go to our format area to see more options of how to format our tables. As we click on our table, we have formatting options such as general. When we click on general, you can see that we can use these values to change our X position and Y position. These are basically the plot area and how we're going to change its width or height or X position. It's very easy, and of course it's for the developers who want to maybe, utilize their space more efficiently. Let's go to our style. Over here, you can choose the style your table works at. You can choose the default style, as you can see, the none style. You can choose the minimal style. You can choose the bold header. You can choose the alternating rows. You can choose the contrast alternating rows. You can choose the flashy rows. You can choose the bold header. You can choose the sparse. And you can choose the condensed. As you can see, there are a lot of options. Right now I'm going to revert to the default, or maybe I can use minimal for now. That looks a little more sober. When we go to grid, you can see there are options of using the vertical grid, which we're going to close right now. And you can switch on or switch off your horizontal grid. As you can see, when you switch it on, your horizontal grids are there. When you switch it off, they are gone. The row padding can be you can change the grid color as well. Maybe I want it black so that it's more visible. I want the grid to be more outstanding maybe, so we can choose to change the grid color as well. Then there is the horizontal grid thickness, where I can increase the grid thickness. However, this increases the table size, so let's decrease that for now all the way to 3. You can increase the row padding. You can decrease it back. So they're like, the outline color can be changed as well. Maybe you want it blue, or you want it any other color. You can increase the weight of the outline as well. Let's change it back to 1. So there are many options. You can increase the image height or decrease it. There's also the option of using the column headers. As you can see, you can change the column headers font size. So maybe you want it red. So over here, the column headers change to red. Maybe you want them blue. However, let's change it back to black for now, because that's, of course, a more visible color for this right now. You can increase the text size, of course. That is usually the first thing I do when I'm working with tables, is I increase the text size. You can change the font family, of course. Maybe you want it Arial black standing out more. So these options are pretty easy. Another thing is the alignment. You want it maybe in the center. Maybe you want it on the left. Maybe you want it on the right. So that's something you can work with. You also have the values option where you can, change the values. You can change the font color. Maybe you want it blue, but for now, let's keep it black. And you can even change the text size. Of course, I wanted it bigger, so let's increase that text size so we can see it more properly. Let's go back. So after values, there's the total. You can switch them on or switch them off. I prefer keeping the total on, to be honest. Keeping the total on is very helpful. However, let's keep them. You can even change the font color of the total. Maybe you want it gray. You can go to the field formatting and maybe put cost of sales and display units in thousands or in millions or in billions. So that's how we can work. However, I prefer the thousands right now because it isn't a very big value. Then you go to our conditional formatting where you can choose the same for the manufacturing as well. We have the title, which of course is useful when you're working with data like visualizations that are diagrammatical. However, in tables, it's not very necessary. However, let's switch them on and maybe we want to go like cost of sales by manufacturer. And maybe we want it black. We want it aligned in the middle. We want the text size increased. We want it over here. So we can change all these values, of course. Then we can also change it to maybe any font that we like or which suits us. We have the background option as well. Over here, this is our background option. And we have other options such as lock aspect. But let's just, check out our background option for now. So let's go down. We have our background options. Let's switch it on. Maybe we want a color in our background. How about let's using purple? It looks nice, but let's switch it off for now. Or we can switch it on. We have the lock aspect, the border, the tooltip, and the visual header as well. Of course, this is something we can work with very easily when we're formatting. So as you can see, there are many options that we can select, and with the options there come the option of reverting to the default. We can go and switch on our borders. Maybe we want the radius to be more. However, let's decrease that for now. So the tooltip is also sometimes important in our tables. Of course, when we're working, we want to maybe make our visualization stand out, make it more advanced. That's another reason why many people put and switch on their tooltips in their tables. However, let's switch it off for now. There are many options, as you can see, for our tooltips as well. So that's another thing. Another format options that you can see are on the top. Of course, you can bring forward or bring, but these are some options that work when you have other visualizations as well, and you can align them maybe to the left, or you can work around with these options, but you'll have to play around to understand them more and see what suits you. So for now, that's how you format your tables and sort them in Microsoft Power BI. I hope you learned a lot in this lesson, and I hope to see you in the next lesson as well. Hello, my name is Gazanfer, and in this lesson, we're going to be discussing how to use multiple measures in Microsoft Power BI tables. Let's go to our Power BI desktop. As we can see, we've got our old table over here. Let's delete them. Now, when you add a value to your table over here, let's increase the value. And maybe column headers as well. When you increase the value, as you can see, you can observe the manufacturers in the table. Now, what is important is that we need to add multiple measures. One way of adding multiple measures is like this, or you can go over here, and as you can see, you can click to add multiple measures. Maybe you want to see the cost of sales by manufacturers. Also, you might want to see the sales by manufacturers as well. So you can add it and it loads up, and you can see the sales, the cost of sales by the manufacturers. You can also see the profit if you want by the manufacturer, and that is how you can add multiple measures. You can drop them in, you can drop them in here, you can work around them. So that's a pretty easy way to work with multiple measures. Another thing that you need to learn in Microsoft Power BI is that you can arrange your values accordingly. Maybe you want this field over here, maybe you want this field over here. So that, how do we do that? So let's say I want the profit to be the first after manufacturers. I can drag it, and as you can see, after manufacturers, the first field that I have is my profit field. Along with this, I can maybe move sales over here, bring it down, and it constantly updates. So let's make a table over here. Let's decrease this table size, and maybe we need to make a new table by, for example, country. Let's change it to our table, and then let's add order quantity. So as you can see, this is the table. So what if I had, for example, this table, and it was formatted in a different style from this? So let's say it was in minimal, the grids, the vertical grids were on, the column headers were another font. So how do we link these both to look the same? So what we can do is, maybe click the table, and we can go to our home and look at our format painter. So what we can do is, when we click on the format painter, we have this option, so we can maybe change it to this style, and as you can see, it changes the style. However, isn't always the same, and there are some differences that happen in this. The format painter isn't always the best way to duplicate your styles. So let's delete this. A good way of duplicating your styles is maybe Control C and Control V. This way you can copy and paste your tables, and they work the same way as well. So as you can see, this is our table, and maybe we want to copy and paste it, and so I use Control C or Control V, or you can go over here and look at all these options. I usually go to here and copy, and then you can paste as well. But you can use the Control C and Control V option as well. So that's how you use multiple measures in your table visualizations in Microsoft Power BI. I hope to see you in the next lesson, and I hope you enjoyed this lesson as well. Hello, my name is Ghazan Ferdnan, and in this video we're going to be exploring our option of cross-filtering in our tables. So basically what cross-filtering is, before we go to our Microsoft Power BI desktop, is how one set of data filters the other set of data. So in this video, what we're going to learn is how one table is going to filter another table. So let's get to it. Let's go to our Microsoft Power BI desktop. Over here, we have our Microsoft Power BI desktop. So let's make a table. Let's take out our manufacturer and the cost of sales by the manufacturer. And maybe even the profit by the manufacturer. Let's drag that all into one table over here. I guess the placing is right. And other than that, let's make a table where we have the manufacturer, the channel, and maybe we want the sales. So we've got our tables ready. Over here we have both our tables. And as you can see, when I click on one table, and click on a set of data, what happens is that the other table filters itself. Like right now, I have chosen Contoso Ltd. So the other set of data concentrates on Contoso. As you can see, if I choose Fabricam, it filters Fabricam. Same is, let's get back to our data. The same works over here as well. If I choose the channel of online, AdventureWorks online, cost of sales and profit filters in the other table as well. So it's pretty simple how you can cross filter one table with the other, and how you can work with tables and filter each other with them. Okay, so we have this feature right now with us. When you notice and click above, over here you have the option of filters and slicer affecting this visual, and above you have the format options. When you click on the format option, you have the option to edit interactions. Now this is a very nice tool for our, of course, tables. When we click on a table, what happens is that you get to choose whether or not this table is affected by this table. So we have all our data over here right now, and right now if I click on anything over here, it filters the data over here. So if I choose Fabricam over here, the data in the other table is filtered according to Fabricam. So what we can do is close this filter, and what happens is that me clicking anything does not filter anything. It may load it, but of course, since I've clicked this, nothing happens. So if I switch it off, this is how I switch it on or off. So currently it is not affected because I switched it off. However, what happens is that the other table still filters this table because this thing is not switched off. So over here, I've selected online. So all the channels of online come. If I select AdventureWorks, AdventureWorks come up. So that's basically how you filter the tables. And currently, if I am to switch off edit interactions, you can see it's not filtering the data on this table because I switched it off, as you can see from edit interactions. You have the option of switching it on or switching it off. If I switch it on and choose this, it's filtered. If I switch it off, it's not filtered. So that's basically how you can filter or unfilter your tables and how you can do cross-filtering between your tables. I hope you've understood the lesson, and I hope to see you in the next lessons as well. Hello, my name is Gazanfer, and welcome to this lesson where we learn methods of aggregation. Now, sometimes when you're working with tables, you want your values segregated. It's not always that you want the total of all the values. For example, the total of all sales. Maybe you want the maximum sales. Maybe you want the minimum sales. Maybe you want some other options that will, of course, develop your dashboard and make it look better. So that's what we're going to learn in this lesson. And let's just go right to our Power BI desktop. Here we have our Power BI desktop. And let's just go and take, for example, our manufacturer. After putting the manufacturer, let's just take maybe the sales value and input that in that as well. So as you can see, the values over here include the manufacturer values and the sale values. So as you can see, we have our values over here. Let's just maybe increase the size, column headers, and the values as well. Just so we can see it better. Okay, now that we've done that, we can see that by the sales is the total sales that happen for that current manufacturer. So we need to work around with the options to see which value we can change and how we can change them to incorporate our requirements. So right now, currently, I do not want to see this. Or maybe I do and want to see other tabs where there is a minimum or maximum slides. So let's work through that and let's look through the options. Let's just click on the table. As soon as we click on the table, we see the option of sales and manufacturers. So let's go to sales. Maybe I want the sales to be the average sales. So I click on the average and all the sales turn into the average sales. But let's change it back to the sum. Okay. So let's just maybe make different columns for these. Let's add some more sales and sales and sales. For now, I think that's enough. So we've got this sale over here, the first one, where it's the total sales. The second one, maybe we want it to be an average. So we go over here, we take an average, and we just see what is the average sales. Like we take the whole number of sales and we divide it by the number of column of sales we have. So right here, that is what happens. Like this is the total sales and this is the average sale. After that, let's go to our next column and maybe we want to see the minimum sale that happened. When we do that, you can see that the minimum sales are in hundreds or, near thousands almost. So that's the minimum sales. Maybe I want to see the maximum sales. So what I do is go over here and check out max sales. So as you can see, the max sales are in 32,000, 56,000, and that is what's happening with this. So let's just cut this all out for now. We have our sales. That's enough for now. Next, we check, maybe we wanna see the count of sales. So what we do is take the sales and let's skip this and just click on count. So what happens is, by default, this counts the total rows. Now our data has 15,000 rows of data. So that's because it just counted the default sales, not uniquely, but it counted all of them. So that's why it's 15,000, because our data is of 15,000 rows as well. So let's maybe we want to see the unique count of sales. That's another feature that we have. It's called the distinct count. And when you do that, it takes out the distinct, parts. And as you can see, these are the total unique parts out of the 15,000 rows of data. We have other options such as standard deviation as well, but that's something we learn in the next lessons. There is the median value, where you find out basically a random value from the middle. Basically, the median is basically the middle value. So the median of sales is 2,472, 5,391. As you can see, these are all the values, and it's pretty easy to understand them. Another thing you can see is the variance. This varies the data, of course, as the name suggests. So let's close this. We have options for the sales, and we have options for the manufacturers as well, that you can choose the first manufacturers, you can choose the last manufacturers, you can choose count, you can add the count of manufacturers, and you can add the count over here, which is 15,000 rows, of course. But count distincts, as I said, it takes out the unique values. We had 10 count of manufacturers, 10 unique manufacturers, and that's what it did. As I said, count distinct is basically the unique values. So let's just keep it to don't summarize, and let's keep this to don't summarize as well. But what happens is, if you keep the sales to don't summarize, they take a lot and a lot and a lot of data space. So it's better to incorporate it to totals, but you can see which requirement suits you better. I hope you've understood this lesson, where we have aggregated our data and segregated how we want to use our values. And I hope to see you in the next lesson as well. Hello, my name is Kazanfer, and in this lesson we're going to go through with our percentage calculations. Many of the time we want to see how much a value is from a whole, and that's why we need percentage calculations. Maybe we want to see whether this product is 2% of the sales or it's 8%. We want to know this stuff, so it's useful for our dashboards. So let's go through with that in our Power BI desktop. In the previous lesson, we learned how to aggregate our data in different forms. So we had sales, we had minimum sales, we had maximum sales, we had the average option, we had the count, we had the distinct count, and all the options that came through with the data. So right now, what we're seeing in front of us is the manufacturers and the sales according to them. So what I want to know is how much percentage of my total sales does this manufacturer give me? So what I'm going to do is turn these values into percentages. So let's go through with that. When we click on our data, as you can see, we got this drop down option in both of these. So when we clicked on sales, what happened is that we had all these options. Over here, we had this option of show value as, and if you see this option over here, the percentage of grand total, if you select this option, what happens is that all these values turn into percentages of a whole. So basically, we can see that A Datum Corporation takes 7.95% of my sales. And the most sales that this person takes, that a person takes, is the Fabricam Incorporated. So what we can do is maybe we want to see the maximum sales and we can aggregate it more, but let's just don't summarize it. Or maybe let's just keep it as a sum and show the value as percentages. Let's go through with that. But before we end the video, I just want you to know a more professional way people use this option. They just remove this and they go to the sales and they get the values of the total sales. Another thing they do is add another value of sales and change this as a percentage. So now you can see both the values of the sales from each manufacturer and the percentages they take out of your whole sales. So this is a very efficient way to do your dashboards, and it's pretty simple as well. I hope you've understood how to make percentage calculations in Power BI Desktop, and I hope to see you in the next lesson as well. Hello, my name is Gazanfer, and we've finally come to the conclusion of our tables section. We've learned a lot in this section, including formatting tables, making tables, and segregating data according to methods of aggregation in our tables. We've also learned how to make percentage calculations and have also observed other options in our tables categories. I hope you've understood everything in our table section, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. Stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next lesson as well.